Good afternoon, tarot friends. I hope this finds you well. Today is a chilly, rainy Sunday towards the end of April in New England, here on the northeast coast of the United States. And I am compelled to make a video today to talk a little bit about one of my favorite tarot decks. And that deck is the Tarot de St Croix by Lisa de St Croix. I got my first edition Tarot de St Croix when it first came out. I think it was 2013. I think I got it a couple years later, like maybe 2014 or so. Anyway, I came across an article about this tarot deck in a tarot magazine. And I looked at it and I thought it was really interesting, and I wanted to see more. The deck, I think, was the first, if not one of the first indie decks I ever bought. So when I actually bought the deck, I was buying it right from Lisa, the creator. And I wanted to show you, this is the box for the first edition. And you can see, not only is mine a little beat up, but it is quite faded. It actually should be kind of bright like this, but it's faded. I used to travel a lot for work, and I would always or often bring this deck with me. And the first year I got this deck, I used it almost daily for a year or so. And here's the first edition version. These are the backs. These are the fronts, and you can see that this is a well-loved, well-used deck. When decks get like this, I say they're getting fluffy, because they just sort of feel less hard and more fluffy from all the riffle shuffling and use that they've gotten. And I do like to see a well-worn tarot deck. I think that's a good sign. So the guidebook that came with this first edition version looked like this. That is a picture of the sun card. And I believe that is Lisa. She does appear in several of the cards in a field of sunflowers. Lisa is from, or not from, but lives in New Mexico, in southwestern, so like the opposite side of the United States that I live in. And you can see New Mexico reflected in some of her cards. What I really liked, and one of the things that really attracted me to this deck in the first place, was its multiculturalism, its inclusivity. You know, my first deck was the Mother Piece deck. I bought that way back in the 80s, and I had never been attracted to tarot before. Part of it was that lack of multiculturalism that you see in the classic decks. To be fair to Pamela Coleman Smith, and of course, even way before her, I think they were reflecting the culture that they were living in at the time, and that's the culture they were living in. But we no longer live in cultures like that. And so I strongly feel, and I have said many, many times on my Instagram and on my YouTube channel, I really want modern day decks to be reflective of the people that I see around me on a daily basis and the people that I read for. And I do not read for solely tall, skinny, white, young, conventionally pretty women. I don't, that's not my client. Occasionally I guess I see someone like that, but I read for a much broader variety of people. And I want people who I'm reading for to see themselves reflected in the deck that I'm using. And so I very rarely use a straight up Rider-Waite-Smith deck for that very reason. So anyway, I always do manage to make a short story long. That's what attracted me to Tarot de St Croix. Of course, the beauty and the vividness of the artwork, but also the multiculturalism and the inclusivity that I saw in this deck that I had not seen in many other decks up to that point. So, I have always loved this deck. This is, ever since I got it, it's been one of my favorite, most used, most loved decks. I use it for myself. I use it for clients that I read for. And people are always, whenever I pull these cards out to do a reading, when I'm reading for a client, people always say, oh, what's that tarot deck? What's that deck? People have a really positive response and want to know what the deck is and who made it and so forth. So compliments to Lisa that her deck appeals to a broad variety of folks, which is the kind of deck that I'm interested in. I understand when historical decks are not inclusive, but I'm honestly not interested in modern day decks that are not inclusive. And that's just how I feel about it. So I found it interesting. For a while there, I saw quite a few comments online about this deck, and many people had a very negative or off-putting reaction to the orange borders. So you can see these are the borders. And I actually love it. I love the orangeness of this deck. I feel like it gives it a fiery warmth, and I like that. And I also wonder, when you react strongly to a color and you think about what chakra or what energy that color represents, is there something, are you wounded in some way in that particular chakra? Do you need to think about working on healing around that particular color and the chakra that it reflects? I don't know. I just think that way about colors, and for myself, having strong reactions, positive or negative, to colors. So I have had the honor and delight of meeting Lisa de St Croix at Reader Studio, I think 3 or 4 times now. And Lisa is a charming and lovely and warm woman who is committed to, I would say, I don't want to put words in Lisa's mouth, but I do believe she is committed to doing social justice and making sure that everyone feels represented. So I think you can see that in this deck. So fast forward from 2013 to 2020, and Lisa ran out of her, I don't know, several printings that she did of, I'll call it the orange version of Tarot de St Croix. And she decided to redesign it before she reprinted it. And so to that end, this is what the new box looks like. And it is lovely magnetic closure, nice, sturdy, hard box. It's matte, and I had voted for the world card to be on the cover, but Lisa kept this beautiful sun card imagery on the cover, and I think it looks great. You can see there are other cards around the sides, similar to the older or original version. And this is a borderless version. So I guess Lisa decided to try out a new look, and I think it is spectacular. I love the way the backs look. I'm not a fan of borders on backs of cards, although I think this does look okay, but I love how this looks. That moon just pops. Oh, and it's down here because these are reversible. And then on the front, she left off the borders except for down here at the bottom in black. There's a black, as you can see, border in white writing the title of the card. And so I think it really looks spectacular. So I was going to quickly just hold up the major arcana. Oh, I didn't show the guidebook. Here's the new guidebook. In contrast to the older guidebook. I believe it's the same guidebook. The introduction was changed slightly. And I did want to just briefly read from the first, the orange one. This is in Lisa's introduction. Tarot de St Croix is a contemporary multicultural deck. It was inspired by current affairs, personal experiences, mythology, and synchronicity. Although the images in this deck are unique, they still hold the essence of the universal archetypes. So that's what Lisa had to say in the introduction of the first version of this deck. So let me go through the deck, just the majors, and you can see that the new cards are slightly smaller than the older ones, but actually, if you take into account the borders, you get a little bit of a bigger picture in this new version. So that was the Fool. This is the Magician. And I am in love with that peachy, pinky, yellowy, orange color on the back. There are several cards in the deck that have that color in the sky, and I love it. Lisa was drawn to creating this book by a shamanic journey that she took, and this version of the High Priestess, I believe, came to her in that journey. And it is Isis. It's beautiful. Love this High Priestess. Here's the Empress. Gorgeous Empress card. The Emperor. He's the boss, isn't he? He's sturdy. He's got a good foundation. And he's showing us the way forward. This next card, the Hierophant, was the card responsible for changing how I feel about the Hierophant, that and the Gaian Hierophant. And this literally brings a smile to my face. How about the Dalai Lama as the Hierophant and as a spiritual leader and teacher versus a pope? There's two very different styles of teaching and spirituality going on. Here we see the Lovers, Chariot, Strength. So Strength comes in at 8. Another one of my favorite cards in the majors is this Hermit. And I don't know that I had seen a woman on the Hermit card before. Again, this is one of those cards that really makes me think of the place that Lisa lives in, New Mexico. That is really reflective of that environment. I love this Wheel card, and I rarely love Wheel cards. This is beautiful. Justice. Hanged Man. And I love how there's a shining star, a light in his heart chakra with the moon behind him. Great Death card. Temperance. And you can see that just losing the borders makes these images, I feel, pop so much more. There's still orange in this deck, which I'm thankful for, but when you take the borders off, of course, you lose a little bit of that orange influence. I love this Tower card. So instead of people falling out of the tower, we have this person up here meditating, and then this person is flying by on the back of a bird. This is Nut is on the star card. And again, I just feel it is so beautiful. One of my favorite moon cards. I wonder if I'm going to say that about every card, one of my favorites. But I am very attracted to this deck, and I do love it. It speaks to me. Here's this Sun card. Here's Judgment. And finally, the Beautiful World card. And I actually bought a print of this, and it's over there behind me. It's beautiful. So those are the majors, and I pulled out some of my favorite minors. So there is a Rider-Waite-Smith influence to this deck, but not every card is straight up Rider-Waite-Smith. So I love this Five of Swords. I got a different take on it than the RWS. I love it. Triangulation at its finest, and who's paying the price for that? A beautiful Six of Swords, Six of Swords is one of my favorite minor cards, and I think this is a particularly lovely version. And I think another one of my favorite minors is the Seven of Wands, and I think this may be my all-time favorite Seven of Wands. Defending the Sacred. I guess I will admit here, or not admit, but state that I happen to love champagne. And so the Ace of Cups is another one of my favorite majors. I love the ocean and I love the moon. So champagne, moon, ocean. How could I not love this Ace of Cups? Three of Cups is a slightly different take on the Three of Cups. I love this. My family has always been big card players, big board game players, and so I love seeing this as the Three of Cups. I love this interpretation of the Six of Cups. I do remember playing with troll dolls when I was a kid. And I think this is also a self-portrait here of Lisa. A wonderful Nine of Cups. More champagne. And champagne is something that my family, so we like board games, playing cards, and drinking champagne. Fun family, right? Love this Queen of Cups. Beautiful Ace of Pentacles. And this really gives you a wonderful insight into the Eight of Pentacles. And you can see the pentacles are all over the beavers' houses and the dam. So those are my favorites. I'm loving the new version. I've been using it. I did a deck interview and I did a first reading with that deck interview, and it was very powerful. And so I don't know which one I'll use more. Probably to begin with, I'll stick with the newer version just to, break it in and, just see how I read with it. I'm sure it's going to be the same as I read with the other version. But I will never stop loving this orange version. It's one of my favorite decks ever. Recently, I did a VR to Kasia at Tarot Map and Patrick at the Living Wheel foundational decks. And I did mention that this Tarot de St Croix was one of my foundational decks. Whenever I do a top 5 all-time favorites video or on Instagram, Tarot de St Croix is always in there somewhere. So I love this deck. I love the old version. I love the new version. And I am so happy that Lisa did do the deck over. I love these cards, really great to shuffle. And they have that lovely, smooth, matte feeling. So I guess I'm here to say I highly recommend this deck. And you can get it straight from Lisa. And I have to say, I ordered it on a Monday night, and I think I got it Wednesday? Probably Thursday. And it came all the way from New Mexico, and I got it in a couple days. So Lisa's pretty speedy with her shipping. So investigate this. Look into this deck. See what you think. Do you use this deck? Do you like it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about the orange borders versus the borderless? Did having orange borders prevent you from buying this deck? And now do you feel like, wow, yeah, I can get next to this? So comment below on what you think about this deck, and if you plan to buy the borderless version, or anything you want to say about the deck. So bright blessings to you. Enjoy this beautiful, relaxing Sunday, and I will see you soon.